So a very busy day on the debt markets. Let's hit the ground running with Ramat Baba, who is the chief dealer for fixed income at FBN Quest Merchant Bank, joining us from FMDQ. A lot of FFF, all in that today. Let's get in there. Fixed income from FBN Quest at FMDQ Exchange Place. Ramat, this is a lot here today. This is a very big day. Wednesday is usually a very big day on the debt market. Is that not so?
Yes, it is. Good morning.
Yes, thank you.
There is a bond auction today.
Yes.
Amount on offer is 150 billion. At the last auction, about 116, a total of 116 billion was sold. That's across the three maturities. That's the 5 years, 7 years, and 10-year maturities. We saw stop rates at 15.2, 15.25, and 15.35 respectively for the three tenors. Today, we don't expect the market to we don't expect stop rates to actually get as high as 15%. And that's actually because all bonds are currently offered below 14.8% levels. The 2028 bond is the only bond currently offered at about 14.8% level. Every other thing is below that level.
Ramat, it looks like the bond market, or Naira bond market, is not being really rattled by the postponement of the elections.
No. No, really. Despite the election uncertainties, nothing much is really happening. Market has been pretty much quiet this week. There has been very little activities. Even though we continue to see demand on the long end of the curve, that's on the 2027, 28, and the other tenors on the bonds.
Okay, so talk to us about the level of liquidity. The January auction by the DMO was a bit lower by a few dozens of billions of naira. What's the outlook on today's? Do you think demand will remain at least at that level?
To be honest, we still see a lot of demand, so we expect a very strong auction. There is demand coming from both the local PFAs and other investors, and some demand as well from the offshore guys. As a result, like I said, we don't expect the yields to go as high as 15% level. If we see a 14.90, I think that's really fair enough because market is trading lower than that.
Okay, so where are we at as far as liquidity is at the moment? And if you think tomorrow's matured treasuries, nearly 600 billion repayment by the central bank will help boost liquidity a little bit?
Yes, the system is actually not liquid currently. Market is estimated to be about 66 billion negative. As a result, at the local currency interbank market, we've seen funds trading at between 15 and 16% levels. Tomorrow, there will be maturities of about 578 billion of OMO bills. This should come into the system and cause a bit of respite. So we expect rates to tank, probably to single digits. However, we don't expect this to be on for long because, of course, the CBN will still continue to mop up through the issuance of OMO bills. I'm not forgetting again that whatever is sold at today's bond auction will settle on Friday, taking out more liquidity from the system.
Okay, so why was the treasuries market a bit quiet Monday and Tuesday with no sales despite the central bank offering on Monday, and there was no open market operations on Tuesday? Is there liquidity?
We still saw quite a lot of demand for the OMO bills, but for some reason the CBN did not issue any bills. We only had an auction on Monday. There was none yesterday, and we've not seen any announcement of OMO auction today so far. So definitely the CBN should be coming in tomorrow to bills, probably because there wasn't liquidity. There hasn't been any significant liquidity in the system this week, so that might be one reason why the CBN hasn't sold any OMO bills this week.
Perhaps the central bank is reserving all its bullets for tomorrow's auction.
Maybe.
Maybe, or perhaps just want the DMO to get his own auction out of the way, then hit the market. So you expect a bit more activities within the next 3 days to wrap up this week?
Yes, we expect the bond auction result to set the tone for the bond market for the rest of this week. That's after the auction today, after today's result is released. And the treasury bills market has actually had a bit of demand, really. It's been a bit active, probably not very active, but it's been a bit active. We've seen demand generally on the short end of the curve as banks try to manage liquidity. However, yesterday we actually saw demand coming in for the long-tenured bills from the PFAs mainly, and yields dipped slightly, but that wasn't major because there was profit taken by some banks at the same time on those bills.
Interesting. This is your market week. I'm going to allow you to enjoy the rest of it. Thank you very much, the chief dealer for fixed income at FBN Quest Merchant Bank, Ramat Baba, out to us from FMDQ Exchange Place in downtown Lagos. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll check with you folks every day of the week, right here on Channels Television, where every news matters. Well, let's get a bit of our first call on the equities market for today, the third trading day of the week. Temple Asaju is back here with us on the program, right on the floor of the NSE in central Lagos, the Central Business District. That's where Temple Asaju really is. Temple, get on the show. Let's get this on. What are you reading as far as the early numbers are concerned within the first hour of the bell?
Reading green again, Bosun. Well, green again, 0.41% in terms of what the key benchmark index is doing at this point. And we've seen some good volumes again, some 32 million units of shares done so far in the last 5 minutes. And of course, that's valued at over ₦1 billion. So it looks more like a lot of investors are now coming back to the market for the earnings, of course, for the financial year 2018 numbers, which will start trickling in more any moment from now. We're expecting more of that, more of those results to also come into the market today. We don't know which particular name will be releasing yesterday, but of course, a lot of interest has been in the banking names, where we've seen so the indices rising some 1.20% right now. Of course, people are still buying more of Zenith Bank, which of course is getting close to 26 naira now. Yesterday it hit 25 naira and has gained some 11%, if not more, year to date. And of course, because again, the earnings was below a lot of analyst consensus. So the banking names are basically the main ones that a lot of investors are watching right now. And traders are putting their money on ground in anticipation of positive numbers from a lot of them, Bosun.
Temple, those faxes, do they ever get satisfied, really? Whatever they get, they just want more and more and more all the time. Times are really hard. Now the market seems to say, look, maybe whatever happens, we're going to have these elections get and done away with, then we can go on with our lives. So investors says, well, thank you politicians, we've heard you say we're going to vote anytime, get the PVC at the back pocket, but keep two eyes focused on these earnings. So, and that's what is driving. I'm looking at the banking sector, 1.2%. That's a very nice green colors, deep green to start today.
It is, both, and it will help to continue to drive up the numbers, because again, I think a lot of foreign investors are worried about the uncertainty that the election is creating. So these numbers, that the way they'll come into the market at this point, will help to have a bit of more, to drive up more gains for the markets. We'll see the indices looking green. We'll see a lot of investors, putting more money on ground, and there'll be more activities around a lot of the companies. I know that a lot of traders are watching the likes of United Bank for Africa, FBN Holdings, which has of course hit 8 naira, and UBA is now 8 naira 15 kobo. The numbers are looking good, and of course, even some of them are getting close to the overbought region at this point in time. But it is basically in anticipation of the numbers and anticipation of dividends that will be declared. If Guarantee Trust Bank comes into the markets today with its own numbers, I mean, it's something that will also drive up more gains in the markets. You see a lot of sell down on the NASD OTC, where you have a bit of traders, pushing their funds to. They will have to now rebalance their portfolio by bringing back their money into the equities markets. That's what we'll be saying going forward for the rest of this week and post-election, where a lot of the numbers will now start coming in, because we have a couple of banks and a couple of other companies that are going to be having their board meetings today. 23rd of February, we should have a couple of other companies releasing their numbers, of course, because again, some of those banks have made their numbers known to their immediate regulator, that's the Central Bank of Nigeria. So what you're expecting now is to have them released directly to the Nigerian Stock Exchange for a lot of the investors to feed on.
Yes. Okay, Temple, I guess the investors just say, look, we can do, well, the politicians will make all the noise, But I'm not just going to forget my investments on Custom Street. So let's leave the politicians a little bit.
Absolutely.
And then we can all have our dividend, hold our annual meetings and what of that. So the market is moving on. Thank you very much. Tempo, the stock market is starting today on a green note, just as we started yesterday. The banking sector about 1.2% in positive territory. The composite index about 0.2% already in green territory. The rest of the day, what does it look like? Check in with channels. Stay with Nigeria's news leader. We have everything here for you in one single place. I'll see you again tomorrow, Thursday, the 21st of the month.